With a very warm wishes, I'm Nilesh Kumar, and I'm going to demonstrate this topic of thermal power plant. Now we'll be just having a little glimpse of it so that the technical as well as the non-technical people may also get the gist of how this actually works. Now we know that in most of the exam this thermal power plant has a maximum weightage, so we'll just try to cover a little technical also so that the people may get a glimpse of getting the answer of approximately for 10 marks questions. Now this is a complicated diagram. We just need to just focus few things and here we go. Please follow as I say. Don't look at the entire diagram because this entire diagram may look a little complicated. So what is the input of the power plant? First of all, the working fuel for the power plant is the coal. So when a carriage comes from the wagons, from this, for example, for railways or any trucks and all, they are first stored at some storage systems. Then this cold handling. Cold handling means that the coal that is being stored is not directly being used. The coal may be impure, may be moist or something like that. We need to heat it a bit, or basically we need to pulverize it. Now what is pulverization? Pulverization is nothing but breaking the big blocks of coal into small pieces so that it can be burnt very easily. Now the coal is been fed through grates in the boiler. Now this is just a written boiler, but just assume that this system is containing a boiler as well as a furnace at the bottom of it. Just follow the way I'm saying, don't look at the entire picture. Now we know that since the furnace is now burning, it's just releasing its heats, so the water may get vaporized. There is an evaporator for that, but the fact is that the water does not turns into completely gas. It's a kind of unsaturated steam. Now unsaturated steam is kind of steam which is wet. That's wet form. It's a kind of wet steam, yeah. That wet steam is fed to the superheaters. Now what is the function of superheater? Simply as the name said, the superheater is basically meant for superheating the steam. Not from the wet steam it is made the superheated steam. It's in complete gaseous form. There is no trace of water or any water droplet in it. Now since this we know that the boiler has having approximately pressure more than of 200 bars. That's how the boiler of a thermal power plant is rated. Now since it is having a very high pressure, it is fed through the valve to the turbine. Now we all know the function of turbine. When it gets a thrust, when it get encountered by a thrust, it will rotate through with the help of the propellers and all the functioning in that. So it will just rotate, it will give the thrust to the rotation and it will change the energy of it, and the rotation is been captured from the alternator, that is basically your AC generator. It has slip rings, so we'll not go into detail with that. So this is basically, this entire compartment is like just assume it as a generator. We are getting a rotational mechanical energy and we are converting into electrical, and so we are just transferring to the various sector like that, and we just have an exciter to excite the motor. So this is how the actual power plant works. Simply cold storage, coal handling plant, then we just fed to the boiler, then it gets superheated, then it's fed to the turbine. Turbines converts the thrust into the mechanical energy, that is circulating or the mechanical energy you can say, and it's then converted from mechanical to electrical with the help of alternators. So that is how the generation of power works. Now rest of the things are done to increase either the efficiency of the system or to use or reuse this waste product of the functioning of the system. Now since we know that since there is the steam, it's a very hot steam, that is superheated steam. When it just gives thrust to turbine, it have to be accumulated somewhere, so it is made to come out from the turbine and it gets passed to the condenser. Okay, so this condenser is basically not the integral part of this thermal power plant. Don't get confused with the diagram. The steam comes here and gets out here. It does not mix with any circulation here. So let you understand what happens here actually. Since the steam is already very hot, we need to convert the entire thing into liquid form so that we can use the water again. That is the main purpose. So we have a scarcity of water, we have to learn to how to reuse the water. So we use this process of condensation. What we do here is that we just have a counter flow of water which is being extracted from the cooling tower or any reservoir, for example a river you can say. So simply it just circulates the water through this circuit, you can say this, and it cools the water. Basically the phase changes there, that is converting the steam into proper fluid liquid thing, that is water. And the extraction pump is there for extraction of this fluid from the condenser, from that to circulate to just maintain this channel. Then water is fed from the water feed pump. Now there is a feed water heater. So some power plant does not use this feed water heater. They just send directly to the economizer. We'll discuss what is economizer. So basically the idea is that using the water from the turbine and sending it back to the boiler. Now wouldn't it be great that before sending it back to the boiler we just heat the water again so that the efficiency of the thing may increase? That's why we use this economizer. And as I told, the rest of the entire thing is either for increasing efficiency or reusing the things. So now we use the economizer to heat the water a bit. Okay, so let us see this again. Since we have reached to economizer, it get heated and the water is fed to the boiler. Now how does it get heated? Now as I told that this boiler is also having a furnace. This system is also having furnace as well as a boiler. The furnace will definitely have some that flue gases. Flue gases is basically nothing but a very hot gas that we get from the furnace. That flue gas is fed through the superheaters. See, the arrangement is as such that the evaporator and the superheater are made to install very close to each other, so that in superheater the heating may get resumed again, isn't it? So the flue gases superheat the steam also, and also it increase the inlet temperature of water through the economizer. That is the function of flue gas. Definitely we want to extract the maximum heat that we get from the furnace, and that's why we install this superheater, then economizer, then air preheater, like that. Now since it had already heated the water, the work of economizer here completes, so that the feed water to the boiler get heated a bit due to these flue gases. Now definitely for the furnace we required some external source of air. That wouldn't it be good that or benefited that the air that we get in the furnace is already been heated? So the function of air preheater comes that when we just install an air preheater before entering the furnace for the air get heated up from this exhaust, from these flue gases. Now the flue gases will definitely convert into some kind of smoke and all that thing. So it is just fed through the chimney and it's just extracted out. Like there are a lot of draughts, like natural draughts, forced draught, induced draught. We can just go in details if there's a requirement of that. So basically what air preheater does, that it just heated the inlet air which has been fed to the furnace. Now since again I'm telling this boiler is having a furnace as well as a boiler tube, it may also have some ashes. Obviously the burning operation is going there, then it may have some waste products, like if we have a flue gas, but then we also may have some ashes. So the ashes which is being extracted from the boiler is fed to the ash handling plant. Now what happens at the ash handling plants? We know that ashes may also be of various kind of particle. The size may vary from very smallest to the quite big and thick ones. So definitely we need to just particularize the kind of ashes, that how we are going to use the ashes. For example, some industry also use the ashes for making the bricks. Some just make it to just make a kind of land, fertile land for this thing. So we know that ashes also have a very low density. It has a low mass with respect to volume. So we just water some ashes, we just sprinkle some water so that it may get just settled down with all the dust that it has, and it's stored. so that it can be used any other form, like making bricks and other things. So this is the actual working of a power plant, thermal power plant. Now some water may also get this condensation extraction pump. We can say that some water may also get contaminated with various things. So it also has been sent to the water treatment plant. Since all the private industry, and not just private, the entire industry must have a water treatment chamber or a water treatment plant, so that the extracted water must be non-toxicated while it's released in environment to make it environmental friendly. So this is the complete gist of the entire thermal power plant. I hope you might have got at least a glimpse that how it works, how the entire thing works. This boiler can be of many kind, like Babcock and Wilcox boiler and Lancashire boiler. Babcock and Wilcox boiler are like it's basically a water tube boiler, that the water is in the tube and the fire is fed from outside, so it's more efficient. Maximum it is used like that. The Lancashire boiler is less efficient than the Babcock and Wilcox boiler, and the Lancashire boiler is kind of it's basically a fire tube boiler, and the fire is inside the tube and the water is surrounding it. Obviously, you might have got some idea that this is less efficient than the Babcock and Wilcox boiler. So I hope you got a gist of how this thermal power plant works. Thank you very much. I hope you like it.